Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Identity Insights by Indicio. This week, Indicio hosted an excellent meetup on how to use ACA-Py to issue and verify JSON-LD credentials. And today I was able to catch up with the presenters, Indicio software engineers Daniel Bluhm and Peter Strobel, and they're here to talk a little bit about the specifics of what it can do and who it is for. Thank you both for taking the time to speak with me today. Could you please start us off with a quick explanation of what ACA-Py and JSON-LD are?
Yeah, for sure. So ACA-Py, or Aries Cloud Agent Python, is an open source project in the Hyperledger Aries wider Hyperledger project, I guess, that serves as a foundation for constructing verifiable data ecosystems. So using ACA-Py, you have an excellent starting point for building verifiable credential solutions, whether that be issuers, verifiers, or other services. So Indicio is an active contributor and active user to the project, which forms the basis of our own open source trusted data ecosystem proven. So historically, ACA-Py has had excellent support for the anonymous credential system, or non-creds, which started off as a Hyperledger Indy thing. It's now its own Hyperledger project. However, ACA-Py has also long had a firm belief that we need to support more and more credential types. And so ACA-Py also supports the JSON-LD credential type with some limitations granted. So JSON-LD credentials follow the W3C verifiable credential data model, and they are signed using linked data proofs. And using these with ACA-Py is what we showcased during the meetup this week.
All right. So why were you excited to present this topic in particular to the community? What kind of makes this these credentials special, or this way of doing it special?
ACA-Py has been capable of issuing JSON-LD credentials with ED 25519 or BBS Plus signatures for well over a year now. Animo Solutions and BCGov have demonstrated it at IIW in 2021, I believe. But even though it's been around for quite some time, I think many ACA-Py users still aren't aware of it or even how to use it. So this is a really exciting opportunity to remind everyone that, look at this, we've got JSON-LD support today, and just give a quick walkthrough of how they can use it in their projects.
So how do JSON-LD and ACA-Py tie into the bigger picture of verifiable credentials and your decentralized identity strategy?
So credential formats are a very hotly contested topic in the decentralized identity community right now. Ultimately, I think everyone is well-intentioned. We all want to help create a better world where people's privacy and autonomy are respected. And we've all got strong opinions on how to accomplish that goal. However, it's my personal opinion that part of advocating for the principles of decentralization is accepting that some people will just choose to do things differently, that there will be other credential formats. There's not going to be one format to rule them all or anything like that. So rather than getting caught up on which credential format is best, we're really striving to see the advantages and disadvantages of each format and then judge which one meets our needs and use cases. And really, ultimately, it will differ from need to need, from use case to use case. So we're strong advocates for non-creds, but we also fully acknowledge that it doesn't meet every single need or use case. So this is where JSON-LD credentials and other credential formats come into the picture. We think that they complement each other, and they, by using combinations of these different credentials, we can better serve our clients' needs as well as our greater goals of protecting privacy online.
So you kind of touched on something interesting there with the some credentials and technologies are better at doing things than others are. What are some of the strengths of JSON-LD or non-creds, and kind of if you could go into that a little bit?
Yeah, so a non-creds has what I would characterize as stronger guarantees on privacy, on the protections afforded to individual identity owners. And again, that's kind of a hotly contested topic. Others on the internet may disagree with me strongly on that point. Whereas JSON-LD is perhaps a little bit more flexible, a little bit more conventional in the sense that traditional cryptography can be used with JSON-LD credentials. So this gets a little into the weeds, I guess, but a non-creds is stronger privacy guarantees, but has more restrictions, has more dependencies, so to speak. that make it harder to be used in every use case. So for instance, one that comes to mind off the top of my head is IoT devices. IoT devices have very constrained resources, very simple chips. They're designed to be as cheap as possible. Doing CL signatures, which is the basis of an on-creds on an IoT device, is not feasible most of the time. So JSON-LD, which uses traditional elliptic curve cryptography, or can use traditional elliptic curve cryptography, you can swap out signature suites as needed, can fit the use case of IoT better than an on-creds could, for instance.
So how will JSON-LD, and you kind of touched on it there with the IoT devices, but how will this technology impact the average person trying to use it?
JSON-LD credentials are a pretty popular credential type in the decentralized identity ecosystem. By increasing support for JSON-LD credentials in ACA-Py, we're hopefully making people's experience with decentralized identity more seamless and intuitive. However, this is all very much behind the scenes, back into the weeds sort of thing. But ideally, it'll mean that the average person doesn't need to worry about whether the credentials from their bank are compatible with their employer.
A lot of these projects are still kind of in the works. Are there any next steps or things that you're looking to accomplish next for these technologies of this project?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. There's definitely work to be done. We have a really solid foundation for JSON-LD credential support in ACA-Py, but there are some limitations that we need to address. So right now, for instance, we're pretty limited on the number of signature types that are supported, just ED25519 and BBS Plus. But again, this is a great starting point. We'll just need to expand to other signature suites in the future. We're also relatively limited in the number of DID methods we can use to issue credentials. Right now, you can issue using DID-SOV and DID-Key, and adding support for more DID methods in ACA-Py is actually an active point of discussion right now in the ACA-Py community. And it's something that will ultimately benefit other aspects of ACA-Py, other aspects of our interop, and not just support for JSON-LD credential issuance. There are other various features of the W3C verifiable credential data model as well that we don't fully support yet. So yeah, over the next while, we'll need to work together as a community to overcome these limitations and generally improve the usability and usefulness of JSON-LD creds in ACA-Py.
So are you looking for more people to get involved in the project? And if so, how can people get involved?
The short answer is absolutely. If we didn't want people to get involved, it wouldn't be open source. So, of course, we're wanting people to get involved. One of the ways that people can is people can attend the ACA-Py users group or the ACA-Bug meeting that occur every 2 weeks on Tuesday. People could join the Hyperledger Discord. People could also open issues on like a Hyperledger on an ACA-Py project as a user. They could contribute code. We do encourage people to plug into like community calls or open an issue before making changes to help make sure their contributions can be merged, and also to reduce duplication efforts in case someone else has also been working on the same thing and has come up with maybe a cooler solution, maybe a not as good solution, communication. But people that have all sorts of skill sets are needed, not just developers. There are a lot of different moving parts of ACA-Py, so we want to help contribute to anything we can.
Well, it looks like we are coming up on the time that I set aside for today. Thank you both so much for joining me. And thank everyone for watching. If you like the content, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, and we'll continue to bring you some more news and interesting information around decentralized identity. Thanks once again to Daniel and Peter. If you could leave us, guys, if people want to learn a little bit more about the topic, or of course join the working group, I'll have a link in the description. But where would you send them to learn a bit more?
So we actually gave a demo during the meetup. If you want to go and get oriented with the JSON-LD with ACA-Py, or just check out some code that's interesting to poke at and run, we have a demo that you can download yourself and run on your own machine and get a feel for what's going on there. So it's a good place to start.